Good morning, stamping friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Lorri Heiling, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I do my YouTube live videos on Tuesday morning, so thank you so much for joining me. And right out of the gate, we are going to start with our project. We are going to use a bundle called the Joyful Flurry bundle, and isn't this pretty? Look at all the colors you can use. The traditional greens, and they even brought purple in here. So it's just really a fun set. And this is actually the first time I've used it this year. So I thought I've got to dig this out and play with it before the season is over with. So look at the cute little fonts they have in this set. There's shorter sentiments and longer ones, and the dies are gorgeous. We're going to be playing with a little bit of everything here today. So let me pull over the card stock that we're going to use, or the designer series paper, I should say. This is called Lights Aglow, and I would say probably this is my favorite one this year, just because I love the traditional colors, but I also love that they brought in the gold foil. And Christmas time is a great time of the year to play with those metallics, and we have lots of choices this year. And then also I love that it uses the traditional reds and greens, and then they're using the Very Vanilla to go along with that. So just a really pretty palette of papers there. I also love that they have a busier side. I don't mean that in a negative way, just kind of a lot going on, but then they have all these nice little more subtle prints that you know, don't have as much going on, so you can really get a lot of looks with this paper. All right, for our card base, we are going to use Very Vanilla, and whenever I do a card base in basic white or Very Vanilla, I always use the thicker cardstock. It just has a thicker texture than our basic. So what I did was I just scored it in half on the long side. This piece is 4 1/4 by 11, and then score it in half and then fold it on that score line. And I see that I left my bone folder in a different area, and I'm too lazy to go get it. So we'll just use my finger as the bone folder, but the bone folder definitely works better. All right, how do you like it so far? Now we are going to take our designer series paper, and this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and this is going to fill up that whole front of the paper. So let's just adhere that, and I use Stampin' Seal Plus. I just think it's a little bit easier to use than the Stampin' Seal regular, so I prefer that one. So let's just put that on the front of the card, and it'll fill up that whole thing nicely. This actually does have that gold metallic in it, so it's just really pretty right off the bat. Now the next thing we're going to do is just take a little strip of Very Vanilla. This is just the regular one. When I do the upper top layers, you don't need that thick cardstock, and you get more paper in a pack with the regular here. And this is 5 1/2 inches by 2 inches, and you'll want to use your silicone mat on this because sometimes you may overshoot the glue, and you don't want to you know, have it splurt out and get on your background or whatever. And you can use either multi-purpose liquid glue or your Stampin' Seal Plus. And I am going to use, typically I use my liquid glue for this, but I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal this time, and I'll show you why. Number one, it won't move around. Sometimes the liquid glue doesn't stick solid for a couple minutes, but I want it to stick right away. Then I took our gold metallic foil paper. This is not the brushed gold, but just the regular. It's a little bit brighter and shinier. And we are going to just put some adhesive on the back of the Very Vanilla. I guess there's not a front and back on Very Vanilla. And then we are going to make a little, whoops, I went a little bit over here. Make sure you don't have sticky on the front side. If it goes over, you can just roll it back like that. And I'm going to make a border, and I'm going to make it probably about 1/4 of an inch, not super small like I normally do. And then we'll do the exact same thing on this side. I think this time I went down a little bit lower so it doesn't hang over the edge, and try to make it symmetrical so it's about, whoops, whoa, I didn't want it to stick that fast. I didn't have it, oh, look at how it comes off on the gold. It'll still work though, because the adhesive is on there, but I didn't have it lined up yet. That's interesting. I've never had that happen before, but of course all the fun new things happen when you're taping, right like that. All right. What this layer is going to do is going to be at an angle, but we don't want to put this down quite yet. We are just going to place what we want done first. Now what I'm going to do is stamp this on some Very Vanilla, not this piece, but a piece of scrap, and then I am going to emboss it with gold embossing powder and die cut it out, and then we will place this on the front of the card. So I will be right back. All right, here we go. This is what I want to be kind of the focal point of the card, but like I said, before we adhere this down, I want to place this, how we're going to put it. Eventually we'll trim off these sides, but I want to, because I'm going to put dimensionals underneath this, I want to stamp first. And so let me share with you which stamp I'm going to use. I'm going to use the one that says sending you all the best this new year. And so what I'm going to do is stamp it right about here. And make sure when you stamp it, it's kind of an optical illusion. You're going to want to kind of go uphill a little bit, but probably best if you stand up, because I don't know if you're like me, but when I stand, I can see better if I'm going straight. And we're going to stamp it right here. And I'm going to save a little bit of time by stamping and embossing. And then I will be right back and share with you what it looks like. Hold tight. All right, I'm back and I have that stamped with Versamark and then embossed. And I know it looks kind of cockeyed a little bit, but it's because I remember I had to tilt it that way. So when I lay it on the card, it'll be straight. All right, let's grab our card again. And what I'm going to do is just lay it on top of here. And I think I'm going to build it before I trim it, because actually we can put the dimensionals on. So flip this over and let's put dimensionals on the back of here. We'll put them in a little ways because part of that's going to be cut off and I'm not really sure where it's going to fall, so we'll just put them in. Normally I put them to the edges, but like I said, we have to trim off some of the sides here. So if I have to cut a dimensional off in the middle, that's all right. You can tell I haven't made this beforehand. I have the vision in my head. So let's see if this card turns out what my head thinks it will. Have you ever done that? You have this great idea in your head, then you start creating and it looks nothing like what your head thought it would, and then in the trash it goes. I do that a lot. All right, so my goal is to have the words not going downhill. So I am just gonna place this about in the middle with the words going straight. It really is like an optical illusion. And also I can see I got a little bit of goop up here. I think there was, I'm not sure if I emboss that. We'll see if it comes off, but it's, oh, it does. Must have been a little bit of sticky something there. Okay, now we can turn it over. And I know that we don't sell these anymore, but I do have these old scissors. Oh, I guess pretty close on this. These are actually, they were back in the day fabric scissors, but I do have a second pair that I use only for ribbon. And then this one I use for paper, but it just takes less manpower with the bigger scissors. But I do like my paper snips as well. All right, so we're just going to trim this off following the cardstock base. All right, now it's coming together. Now let's put our snowflake on that we made. Now I did do another layer because I just thought that, I mean, you can do it like that, but I wanted to stand out a little bit more. Maybe you prefer it like this. If you do, just put this on with dimensionals. But I thought it would be fun to pop it up a little bit more by putting that gold sparkle paper behind. This paper that I'm using is called Glimmer Specialty Paper, and look what comes with it. Evening Evergreen. There's also a Very Vanilla and then our gold, but that's what gives it the shimmer. And so we're going to put this on. Let's put the snowflake on first. I think just one dimensional, well, maybe a couple dimensionals so it doesn't go sideways. And I think it just makes it stand out a little bit more. Isn't that a pretty snowflake design though? Oh, I love it. Now we're going to add more dimensionals because one can never have too many dimensionals, and just a couple should do it. I know some people like to put solid, but I'm more conservative. I just put a few on. And then I want to kind of sandwich it so that the little prongs that stick out are kind of in between these words like that, and make sure it doesn't go off the page, because we know that this will fit in an envelope that fits 4 1/4 size. All right, we're getting closer. Now I did take one more die from that set, and I wanted to make a smaller one to go in the center of this. So I'm gonna put that on, and I don't think we can cut a dimensional small enough for that. So we'll just use a little bit of liquid glue for that center. Excuse me. Okay, I have never sneezed on camera, so there's a first for you today. Excuse me. There is a first for everything. All right, that gives a little more shine to that. And I think that needs something in the middle. So I am going to reach over here and grab, I think a good old-fashioned pearl is going to work. So let me get one out of my stash here. And we are going to do the larger pearl. There's, I think, 3 sizes on here, and is very vanilla. Pearls are kind of that color, so it's going to go nicely with this card right in the middle. Whoops, ooh, it didn't stick. That's why. You put a little more glue on there. That's interesting. Maybe we have to let that set, and maybe it doesn't want to stick to my embossed things. And maybe no glue came out when I did that. I'm not sure. I haven't had that happen before. All right, let's try this again. And I'm going to put this on this end this time so I can just kind of slide it off. There we go. That's the finishing touch. And of course, I looked at it and I thought that's not quite enough. We got to add one more thing because we have all this matchy stuff. Isn't that ribbon pretty? I love this. It's kind of got a organza in the middle and it's vanilla and gold, and it just screams go with this card. So let's grab a glue dot, and now the life and death question. Where does this bow go on this card? I know where I think it should go, but I'll try a couple. Not over there. I was thinking right here, and I think that's where it's going to go because there's some space that can be filled in here. Oh, that's it. The finishing touch. There we have it. Do you like it? Oh, I think that turned out okay from my head to the paper, so I hope you like that. Now, remember, I have a host code here, and if you order online, I would love it if you use the host code, and if your order is over $50 or more, I will send you a little treat. It would be some product in the mail, just a small thing that will fit in an envelope along with your thank you card as my way of saying thank you so much for your order. And I hope you enjoyed this project, and I will see you in another week. A week from Tuesday is going to be November 1st already. Oh my gosh, this year is flying by. So we will see you in November and see what's up my sleeve. And I will also be working on my next online card club. And so I'll have a little introduction on that. Thank you again for those of you who signed up for October. And remember, my online card club, you can start and stop at any time, and I will give you the link to that as well. So if you didn't join us in October, I invite you to start up in November, and then you can start your kits coming in the mail. All right, you guys take care. Have a great rest of your week, and thank you again for joining me. Bye-bye.